He just didn't want to hear it. Junpei swallowed, then spoke.
Ace, did you kill Clover?
Yes.
Why? Why did you kill her?
She was Snake's sister. It was possible he had something dangerous. Additionally, she had gone through door number 1. It seemed likely she might have found it.
Found what?
Why don't you go through door 1 yourself? Perhaps it's hidden somewhere.
Seven and Lotus interrupted.
Yeah, but Lotus and I went through door 1 too.
We didn't see anything suspicious.
Yes, I thought as much after I heard your report at the central stairs. I doubt the two of you could find it. But perhaps Clover was different. Perhaps she had found it. I was, therefore, desperate to find her. And at last I did, in the first-class cabin. I spoke very calmly. Did you see it?
See what?
Don't act as if you don't understand. You were in the captain's quarters, weren't you?
Huh? What are you talking about?
Very well. By the way, what are you doing here, Clover? There's blood on your shoes. It looks fresh. Did you go take a look at the 9th man's corpse? I see. Your silence suggests that you noticed. You saw something, didn't you? You saw that his bracelet was gone.
Clover ran. She made for the exit, but Ace stood in her way.
You aren't going anywhere.
He caught her by the collar as she passed and threw her to the floor, hard. She leapt back up and darted past him into the hallway. Ace followed at a run. He was faster.
That was how I killed Clover.
His face hadn't changed. If he felt guilt or remorse or anything one might feel after taking the life of another human being, it didn't show.
You son of a bitch.
Seven's whole body trembled with rage, and his voice rumbled with hate. Santa's eyes were bloodthirsty, and Lotus and June's faces were distorted by anger and hatred. Ace looked at them and smiled. It was a cold, cruel thing with no humor in it. He shook his head and sighed.
I admit it. I've lost. I have lost completely and utterly. But don't misunderstand, Junpei. I didn't lose to you. I lost to Zero, not you. I'm rather disgusted with myself for falling into such a simple trap. And it was a trap, make no mistake. I was trapped and manipulated by Zero. The man I killed in the shower room. If he wasn't a snake, then I have no idea who he was. But he was wearing Snake's clothes, and that was no coincidence. He had also been injected with something that reduced his cognition and prevented him from identifying himself or resisting me. And we can't forget the components that were removed from the red before we arrived. I have no doubt that Zero planned all this. Zero made sure I would kill that man. It follows, of course, that Zero knew everything I would do. That I would try to take the number 9 bracelet. That I would try to kill Snake. Everything.
Suddenly, Junpei remembered the paper he'd found in the safe. He remembered the last words Zero had written on it. I must punish them for the innocent life they sacrificed. This is the only warning they will receive. That innocent souls might be saved, I now state the truth. Zero. And he remembered other words he'd heard from Clover. One by one, Junpei looked at the 5 people standing in front of him. Ace. Santa. June. 7. Lotus. 0 is one of us. No. Junpei paused. There was one more person. Snake. It was clear now that the man who died in the shower room was not Snake. That meant that Snake was almost certainly still alive. Perhaps Snake was 0. Perhaps Snake had made Guy X wear his clothes so that he would appear to be dead. Where was Snake now? Perhaps he was somewhere laughing at them. If he was 0, surely he had lied about many other things. Was he watching them?
Well, I believe I finished my confession. Why don't we get moving?
He sounded as if he just finished doing nothing more exciting than describing the weather. For Santa, it was the last straw.
What the hell is this shit? You aren't going anywhere, you son of a bitch! We're gonna leave your ass here to rot!
Why? Because I killed Clover? That's ridiculous. Why are you so upset that I killed the little bitch? She was nothing to you. A stranger you only met a few hours ago. Am I wrong?
You bastard.
7 roared and lifted a fist that would likely have shattered Ace's jaw, but someone else was faster. It was Lotus. She stepped toward Ace, raised a fist of her own, and drove it straight into his nose.
You've got some fire, don't you? I confess, I rather like a tough woman.
He sniffed and wiped a small trickle of blood from his nose with a raised eyebrow.
Well, maybe you'd like another one then.
Ah, before that, let me give you one of my own.
Huh?
Lotus scarcely had time to blink. Ace snaked his arms around her and pulled Lotus's back up against him. In the same motion, he reached into his coat pocket. It was a gun. The revolver. Almost lazily, he tilted it to point at Lotus's head.
If any of you so much as blink, I won't hesitate to pull this trigger. I've already killed 3 people. Don't think I'm not ready to make it a 4th.
3 people? What do you mean?
Very well. Let me take this opportunity to illuminate you. The person who killed the 9th man was me. Although I suppose, to be more accurate, I encouraged him to get himself killed. While we were examining the main staircase, he came to me and told me his name. I recognized it at once, so I gave him a little push. Just a little white lie. It seems the setting for the dead were altered. Now it only requires a single person to deactivate the detonator in the bracelet. Investigate what's beyond door 5. We'll meet again later.
Okay, have a good one, guys. I'm going off ahead now. Well then. Shit! Why isn't it stopping? God damn it! You lied! Oh, open the door! Please, I'm begging you! Help me! Please, get me out of here! Get me out of here! Oh my god. There's no time left. Listen. I was lied to. He lied to me. He put me here. It was him. He killed me. It was him.
I had 4 reasons for killing him.
1.
As I said before, in the nonary game, the number 9 bracelet is the utmost importance. If I had allowed him to keep such a useful tool, he, or it, would have become a threat to me. As such, I decided that he should be eliminated early on.
2.
I wanted the number 9 bracelet. If I could manage to obtain it, I would be able to manipulate the game as I saw fit. I would be unable to acquire the bracelet unless its owner was dead.
3.
Even setting aside his number, he would have been nothing but trouble for me. He was aware of my past. He knew what happened here 9 years ago. It was important that I eliminate him before he was able to disseminate this information.
4.
Lastly, I wish to conduct a simple test. A test to see if this nonary game was serious or a poor attempt at a joke. I needed to be quite sure. As such, I encouraged him to act against the rules so that I might observe the outcome.
Junpei glared at him.
I don't get your third motive. What the hell happened 9 years ago?
Didn't I say? The nonary game was played. I planned it out, and I conducted its execution.
Why? What on earth was it supposed to do?
I don't really think I have any obligation to tell you that.
Ace smirked. He was trying to provoke them, and it was working. Although Ace had paid very little attention to Lotus after catching her, the gun had never wavered from her temple. She looked quite pale, and when she spoke, her voice shook.
Hey, what's with this gun? Where did he get this?
Why don't you tell her, Santa?
Santa ground his teeth and glared at
On
Ace.
the other side of door 6. We found a gun in the coffin in the cargo room. Right? Bastard must have grabbed it when we weren't looking.
Indeed I did. That was a pretty serious mistake, you know. Just saying you intended to leave it behind.
Ace laughed, a short, decisive snort, and gave Junpei a sickeningly pitying look.
Well, there isn't much time left. I'll be off then.
Where are you going?
Do I really need to explain? I had assumed it would be obvious. I have the number 9 bracelet. And now I have Lotus.
9 plus 8 plus 1 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
Wasn't there a door with a 9 on it in the room that looked like a church? That's where you're going, isn't it?
And how do you know that?
Santa told me about it while we were looking for Clover.
I see. Well, you are correct. That is my destination, but now I must say goodbye to all of you. Ah, and please, don't forget my warning. Move and I'll pull the trigger. I don't need her alive to open the door, you know.
As he spoke, Ace began backing towards the door, practically dragging Lotus behind him. Junpei, Santa, June, and Seven stood frozen. Ace had the face of a man gone mad. They had no doubt he would pull the trigger. Ace had reached the exit. He forced Lotus to open it, then turned and addressed them once more.
Goodbye.
Then he stepped through the door. It fell shut. In the blink of an eye, they were gone. As soon as Ace and Lotus were gone, Junpei and the others leapt for the door in pursuit of Ace. But as Junpei laid his hand on the doorknob, there was a noise behind him. He looked over his shoulder. June was kneeling on the floor, breathing heavily.
Hey! June! What happened? Are you alright?
Santa ran to June and wrapped his arm around her before she could collapse all the way.
Jesus, you're burning up! Your fever's back! Are you okay?
June's fever had returned again for no apparent reason. Her eyes were watery and her eyelids drooped. Her breath came in dry, shallow gasps.
I'm okay. Really, I'm fine. You should be worrying about Lotus.
She was breathing hard now, and she could barely summon the strength to talk. Junpei was torn. He couldn't leave June alone in the state she was in. But every moment they waited, Ace was further away, Lotus's life in his hands. What was Junpei supposed to do? June's eyes drifted to Junpei's. She managed to muster a weak smile.
Don't worry about me. I just need a little rest. I'll be fine. Don't you remember? I just needed to rest a little bit last time. So please save Lotus.
Think about what Ace has already done, Junpei. When he's got what he needs from Lotus, you really think he's gonna let her just walk away?
God damn it!
You guys go on ahead. Soon as June starts feeling better, we'll follow you. Go!
Junpei looked at June. She nodded once. She couldn't manage much more. But it was all the confirmation Junpei needed. His resolve was set.
Alright. Come on, Seven. We're going after Ace.
Hell yeah.
Santa, you take good care of June. I'm trusting you.
Santa nodded. Junpei turned before he had a chance to change his mind and started running toward the door. He could hear Seven's heavy footsteps behind him.
Let's go!
Junpei and Seven exploded into the hallway, their feet pounding the metal floor as they ran. Junpei and Seven had finally arrived at the church, exhausted and out of breath. As their lungs struggled to catch their breath, their eyes frantically scanned the room. No sign of Ace or Lotus.
You think they already went through?
He reached up to wipe a palm full of sweat from his brow.
Maybe.
Even as he spoke, Junpei was already on his way to the larger of the number 9 doors. He looked at the red. The display panel read vacant. He spun around and headed towards the smaller door. The red would tell him to face and Lotus had moved to another room.
Engaged. It's occupied.
That means Ace and Lotus went through here.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Junpei and Seven stepped away from the door. They retreated to the center of the room and began to talk.
What do we do now?
Yeah. What should we do? Well, the big door's still vacant, but...
The two of us can't do anything with it.
Yeah, first of all, our digital route is not 9.
Just then, as they were pondering what to do next, there was a noise. A noise like someone hitting a thick wooden panel. Junpei looked up, surprised. Seven followed suit, his eyes jumping around the room, looking for the source of the sound. It wasn't long before they found the altar. Or more precisely, what was on it.
The coffin.
Yeah.
Let's open it.
How?
By force.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, you'll never know till you'll try, right? The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures.
Who said that?
I forget. Anyway, we've gotta try.
Junpei and Seven leapt at the coffin. They grabbed hold of what purchase they could find and pulled.
Damn it!
See? Didn't I tell you? If you could just pull it open, why would I have something like that?
Seven pointed at a keypad on the side of the coffin.
Right. So unless I put in the right passcode, it's not gonna open.
The noise hadn't stopped. In fact, as it continued, it had only gotten louder and more forceful. What were they supposed to do, Junpei wondered. Was there some sort of clue somewhere? They stood there for a few moments staring at the coffin, and then Seven spoke.
Hey, Junpei. I remember you mumbling about some weird numbers over by the bathroom in the first-class cabin. You got those numbers by solving the secret message Clover was holding, right? Truth had gone, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. What about it?
Well, maybe the number's the passcode for this thing, too.
Come on, that's impossible. Those numbers were the code to unlock that safe.
Yeah, but the person who set up the safe and this coffin is the same person, right? Zero set up both of these.
Yeah, probably.
Well, they might have been set the same passcode for both of them.
That's ridiculous.
Why don't you just try it? I mean, it's not like you'll make anything worse.
It'd just be a waste of time. There's no way they're the same number.
How do you know that? You never know until you try. The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures.
Who said that?
You.
Ugh. Fine.
He knelt down in front of the keypad and looked at it. Perhaps because he'd repeated them so many times before, the numbers came easily to Junpei's mind. 143834421. Quickly, he typed them in. He checked that he'd entered the right numbers, took a deep breath, and pressed the E button. It only took a moment.
What? You've got to be kidding me!
There was a click. And with a heavy clunk, the lid of the coffin slid off onto the floor. Someone sat up from inside.
Snake!
You. Why?
Those voices. Junpei and Seven, unless I'm mistaken. Where are the others? Are they elsewhere?
Of course, there was no reason Snake would have known anything about where anyone else would be. Junpei and Seven looked at one another. There was a great deal he needed to know, but... They had to tell him something, however, so they began to talk. Snake explained to them how he came to be locked in that coffin. Apparently, he'd been hit with some sort of knockout gas, and Junpei and Seven explained what had happened to the rest of them. There was one thing, however, that neither Seven nor Junpei could bring themselves to say. That Ace had killed Clover. They feared that if Snake knew, he might well go insane. They decided as much by a look the moment Snake had climbed out of the coffin. Snake's story explained frustratingly little. Zero's true identity was a mystery, as were his intentions. Why had Zero put Guy X in Snake's clothes? If Zero had left a note for them to say the nonary game had been played 9 years before, was there some connection? Junpei put the question to Snake. His answer was less than illuminating.
What are you talking about? I apologize, but I have no idea what you're saying.
It seemed as though Snake was, perhaps, not being entirely honest, but that knowledge did Junpei and Seven little good. No matter how many times they asked, he insisted that he knew nothing. It was becoming clear that Snake wouldn't give in, and every second they spent asking him was a second wasted. Their time limit was fast approaching. Snake's release from the coffin had changed nothing. They still needed to follow Ace as quickly as possible. However, they stood in silence, the overpowering atmosphere of the chapel almost stifling. Junpei, Seven, and Snake simply stood at a loss for what they should do next.
What do we do now?
He glanced over at Snake's wrist. Sure enough, he could see the 2 on the bracelet on Snake's wrist.
The 3 of us can't make a digital root of 9.
Yeah, we just get 5.
We're stuck here, then.
Oh. Hey, I just remembered something.
Seven began patting his pockets as if he were checking to see if any of them held anything.
What?
What is it?
I found something earlier.
What did you find?
This.
He finally found the pocket he wanted, and his hand dove into it. Seven pulled out something round and metal. A bracelet. There was no mistaking the number glowing. There was no mistaking the number glowing at them from the face like a cartoon eye.
0. Zero's bracelet.
What the hell? Are you saying that 7 has the number 0 bracelet?
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Snake's question was innocent enough, but if he learned the truth, if he'd been able to see, he would have noticed Seven look away.
Clover gave it to me.
She did?
Yeah.
How did she come by it?
Well, she found it, see, and on the other side of door 1, A deck, in the captain's quarters. She asked me to hold on to it because it was too big and bulky for her to be lugging around.
It was a lie, and Junpei knew it.
I haven't actually looked at it yet. Didn't want to disturb the crime scene, you know? Basic stuff. Well, I did borrow one thing. Alright, Junpei. It's been nice knowing you.
What?
7 plus 2 plus 0 equals 9.
Come on, man, I'm just kidding. Still, just in case, I want to make sure that the 0 bracelet gets picked up by the red. Snake, give me a hand, alright?
Without waiting for a response, he started walking toward the door. Junpei and Snake followed him quietly. Before long, they found themselves in front of the larger of the two doors. 7 and Snake put their palms on the red. Once they'd done that, 7 put the number 0 bracelet on the scanner panel as well. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. 7 plus 2 plus 0 equals 9. Now they just needed to pull the lever and the door would open.
Huh? Why isn't it opening?
Well, the third asterisk lit up, so it must have registered the 0 bracelet.
Maybe it isn't actually 0.
Huh?
What?
That bracelet may not actually produce the number 0 when scanned. That is what I'm saying. Why don't we try a few different combinations? Perhaps we can determine what number that bracelet actually contains.
Junpei nodded. They decided to use the following combination. Oh, man. I want to say this one. Snake plus Junpei plus 7 plus the mysterious bracelet. Snake plus Junpei plus 7 equals 2 plus 5 plus 7 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. If that combination worked, then the mysterious bracelet's number was 4. However, the door didn't open. The mysterious bracelet's number wasn't 4. Junpei continued. Alright, how about this one? Snake plus Junpei plus the mysterious bracelet. Snake plus Junpei equals 2 plus 5 equals 7. If that combination worked, then the mysterious bracelet's number was 2. However, the door didn't open. The mysterious bracelet wasn't 2. Junpei continued. Okay, so then it's this one. Junpei plus 7 plus the mysterious bracelet. 5 plus 7 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. If that combination worked, then the mysterious bracelet's number was 6. They scanned in their bracelets.
It opened.